Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's story. And if you do, please subscribe. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. Before I go any further, I have to give a shout out to the birds. Oh my gosh, watching the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday was so amazing. We were so excited. It was such a great game. Oh my gosh, Jalen Hurts was magic. The whole team was magic. It was a fabulous game. Poor Mahomes. I mean, they didn't give him a chance whatsoever. They were like taking his ball and hitting his arm and watching all this crazy stuff go down. And it was such an amazing win. And we all know I don't live in Philadelphia anymore, but I'm still a fan. And I have to say, I was so excited for Philadelphia and the outcome of the Super Bowl. It was amazing, 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 amazing stuff. So bravo to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning the Super Bowl in 2025. And I will not be there for the parade on Friday, but if you are going to be there, please, please, please be careful. Because we know how rowdy it can get in Philly. It gets really rowdy. And but be safe and know that you don't have to get messed up just to have fun. Let's face it. Okay. I've been having a lot of fun for these past 18 and a half years. So I know you can too. But be careful if you decide to go to the game. And so here's to today's episode. Today's episode is going to be all about my 56 years of Valentine's Day. I thought, oh my gosh, it's Valentine's Day. I've been talking to people who have little kids, and then me as a grown up. I say that. And this weekend, actually, we're not even having Valentine's Day because we're having a big party for my son. But, it is still that time of year that everybody, I think, gets a little anxious, and it's kind of a crazy time for a lot of people. A lot of feelings, a lot of emotions come up because it's Valentine's Day, and you feel less than if you don't have somebody special. And if you do have somebody special, you're like, oh my gosh, is this amateur night? And it sometimes felt like that for me for so long. But what I thought most importantly was, prior to Hallmark and cards and all this other crazy stuff we have these days that goes in tandem with Valentine's Day, there was Saint Valentine. And Valentine's Day was, it was kind of like, it was kind of archaic and kind of, it was kind of a scary time back in ancient Rome when there was a festival called Lupercalia, and that was celebrated every February, and it would be a wild ritual meant to purify people and promote fertility. Can you imagine what that would be like? Were they like banging on drums? Were they dancing around? Maybe taking sticks and banging them together, lighting fires, having water, I'm sure, like a fertility kind of ritual. Can you imagine what that would be like? That would kind of be crazy, but that's what they did back in Roman days. And it wasn't very romantic, it doesn't sound like, when I went and read all about it back in the Roman times. But it was all about infertility and helping people get pregnant, I guess. And then comes the story of Saint Valentine himself, or actually Valentine's. There were a few of them, but most popular legend is about a priest who secretly married couples when it was illegal. Can you imagine it being illegal to get married? Yeah, it was. And it still is today in certain parts of the world for certain people to get married. There's arranged marriages, there's all sorts of things that go on still that we would think are so primal here for us Americans. And when Saint Valentine or Valentine's married couples when it was illegal, he was eventually caught and executed, um, and killed, but not before reportedly healing the jailer's blind daughter and signing a note that said to her, "From your Valentine." That became the inspiration for the notes we exchange today. Can you imagine? So he gave a note, Valentine, to the the jailer's blind daughter. He sent her a note, and that's how these notes all started. That's crazy, isn't it? Later in the Middle Ages, Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a poem linking Valentine's Day to love and birds finding their mates. That's when it became romanticized And here we are centuries later, still writing love notes and giving red roses. It's amazing how a holiday rooted in martyrdom and medieval poetry turned into this global celebration of love. Can you imagine what it must have been like back then to be St. Valentine and he wanted to spread love and he wrote a note to the person who jailed his blind daughter and then a poem about birds and flowers. Circle that all together in a big package, you guys. We got this big package of what Valentine's Day was and how that something way back then has brought us to today and all the craziness. You go into the stores, I swear it was literally the day after New Year's. It was Valentine's Day. If you went to CVS or Walgreens, they already had up all the Valentine's stuff. And it was like, right now, here we go. We can't have 1 minute of no holiday. We have to go from the next one to the next one to the next one. And to think that that's where it all began was with St. Valentine and a poet. Kind of crazy. So I have been thinking about Valentine's Day, and I was talking to somebody just the other day about how they're getting their children ready, their elementary age, and how excited the kids are for Valentine's Day. And I remember being little in elementary school and literally writing out cards for everybody in the class. And you'd sit there and you'd get those cards and you just write your name and then you'd give conversation candies. The candies are definitely not like what they today. There's so many more options than there were when I was a kid. But back then we'd get these cards. I remember we'd buy there wasn't obviously the variety there is today. There isn't the candy. None of that was around back then. But we just got the little card and you would write your friends' names on it, everybody in the class. Your mom would give you a list of everybody's name in the class and you would write the name and then you'd sign your name. And then you'd make a box. I remember this too. Read school. Oh my gosh. In St. Louis, Missouri and going to read school and making the box and decorating the box with stickers and making it really, really pretty. And like everybody in the class would walk by and put their Valentine in your box. And then you'd go home and you look through all your Valentines and you'd be so excited. You're like, look at who I got a Valentine from. And it was pretty much everybody in the class. Nobody was left out. But it was so fun. It was all about kids and having fun and showing love to everybody in your class. It didn't matter. Everybody got a card. Didn't matter. Didn't matter what your feelings were, if you liked them or you didn't like them. You gave everybody a Valentine. And then you fast forward to middle school. There's not so much Valentine's Day. It's more like who goes out with each other. And maybe they'd have a Sadie Hawkins dance and you'd go to that. But I didn't really have a boyfriend. I mean, I did in like eighth grade, seventh grade, maybe. I had a boyfriend, but it wasn't like, romantic. It was just like you'd give each other a Valentine and it would maybe they'd bring you flowers and it would feel really cute and fun. And then, it comes to college and you still have these Valentines and you're just like, I hate Valentine's Day. I don't have a boyfriend. Think that's when the psyche started to happen, probably in the end of middle school till like high school. That's when it all began, when you realize like it's not fun not having a boyfriend. Or if I guess if you're gay, not having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And it was so it was kind of like a day you regretted. It went from this day that was so celebrated when you're little to this day that was just filled with such dread. And it was just, oh my gosh, feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have a Valentine, but my friend does. And they're going to go out for Valentine's Day. And I wasn't invited. And it was always cold, either in St. Louis or then Philadelphia or Washington, D.C. It was always cold. And it was always like, I have to have Valentine's Day and I don't have a Valentine. I just want to stay home and cry. And literally feeling like that. I can remember that so vividly, like just the dread of Valentine's Day coming. I just felt like I have to do Valentine's Day and I don't have a love. I might have had a crush or two, but I didn't have a love. And then I got married and I remember my first husband would just bring me the flowers because he was supposed to, right? He'd bring you these flowers and you'd go to this dinner that was so, it was all just so performance oriented, wasn't it? It was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go wherever I'm going to go and I'm going to see whoever I'm going to see. And I'm going to go with my husband and I'm going to go have Valentine's Day. And it's going to be what it's going to be. At the end of the day, I can't really remember that many Valentine's days when I was married to my first husband. I don't know why. I just don't. And I just remember it being something that was like, you're supposed to do. Air quotes here, guys. Air quotes. I'm supposed to go out for Valentine's Day and being like, I don't know why we're doing this. It costs so much money. The flowers are way more expensive. It's just stupid. Why are we spending all this money on roses when we really don't have the money to do it anyway right now? Or why are we going to this expensive dinner when we really can't afford it? And we're doing all this stuff because society says that it's Valentine's Day and you have to do these things because if you don't, you aren't loved, which thinking back in hindsight is total bullshit. Oh my God, it's total bullshit. I think back and think to myself, God, I was, for one single for a lot of Valentine's days in my life. I would say not half, but a good portion of my life, I didn't have a Valentine. And that's depressing when you don't have a Valentine. And then came my husband now, JF, also known as John. And having I'm going to tell you guys this story. It's so bad. I should be embarrassed to say it, but of course, you know me. I always just tell you guys the truth anyway. So I had been dating JF for almost 4 years. And I was like, are we going to get married? We're dating, and I'm just like kind of sick of being your girlfriend, air quotes again. And I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore. I really want to get married. And if you don't want to get married, it's fine. So back up. By the way, I met JF on like pretty much around Valentine's Day. That was when we first started talking on Match.com. And you're probably out there going, what? Yes, I've been dating other people many times and I'd done Match.com before. And I was like, I don't want to do Match.com. It's too much. I don't want to do it. I hate it. I hate this whole dating. I hate going and meeting strangers. I hate the whole stupid thing. I don't want to do it. But I was kind of at my wit's end. I was like, I want to get married again. I want to have a boyfriend. I really want to meet somebody. And I knew I wasn't going to meet this person that was going to be like something else. Where I lived in Wayne. I knew everybody. So that was like not going to happen. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I went to my church and I talked to Father Frank Allen, who's no longer the priest at St. David's, but he used to be the priest at St. David's. Loved him so much, and I still do. And I went to him and I said, I really want to meet someone. What should I do? And he said, Elizabeth, every wedding I do is either from eHarmony or, I think there was Go Fish or what was it called? I think something fish. And then there was Match.com. He said, every marriage, it didn't matter if it was 20-year-olds, 30 years old, 40, 50, 60, every person he was marrying pretty much had met online. So he said, I really think you should do it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. Slap some pictures up. A dear old friend sat down and she helped me write my whole entire profile, which had on there like no ink, no tattoos. I really had it like boiled down to what I wanted exactly. And um, I put it up there and I said to myself, I'm doing this for 1 month. I'm paying $30. I think it was $30. I was like, all right, I'm going to pay, maybe it was $28.99 or something, or $29.99. And I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do it for 1 month and I'm going to do it like a job. I'm going to seriously take this dating seriously. So every person, oh, I back up. I wrote down on a piece of paper everything I wanted in a partner, like who I wanted my husband to look like, what I wanted him to look like with every detail you would ever think of, right? Eyes, height, education, um, bank account, all of those things. I wrote them all down on a piece of paper. So I go on, I start embarking on my Match.com quest to find my man. And I did it. And they sent me, they send you your matches. And again, I told you I'm doing this like a job. So if they send me somebody, I'm going to totally take the time to read the person's um, description. Not really. I'm definitely going to look through the pictures though. Let's be honest. It's like shopping. Let's face it. At least that's how I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, that one looks good. That no, definitely not that one. Yes, there's this one. No to that one. Da, 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 da. So I went through the whole thing. Anyway, needless to say, they send me JF as a maid. And so they send him to me as a match, air quotes again. And I saw his pictures and I'm like, gosh, he's really cute. I think I'm going to wink at him. You could wink back then. I don't know if you even wink anymore. I know that there's like 5 million other things, dating apps now from back then, from like literally, I met him in 2013, so 12 years ago. So from 12 years ago to now, there's a lot more dating apps. But I wink at him and he writes me back and he says to me, I not only have one tattoo, now this is around Valentine's Day of 2013. So he writes me back and he goes, I not only have one tattoo, I have many. I'm like, really? You do? Oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy. And wow, this sounds kind of interesting. I can't believe this guy just said this to me. This is kind of intriguing. Actually, he obviously read my my profile and he saw what was on there and he was like, get over yourself kind of. And I was kind of like, wow, I got to be a little more open-minded. So I meet him on Valentine's Day. Well, after Valentine's Day, he was busy with his daughter and I was busy with my kids. And so it took a little time for us to meet, but we eventually met and it was around Valentine's Day of 2013. Crazy enough. So I didn't have a Valentine's Day with him for Valentine's Day that year either of 2013. So fast forward to 2016. It must have been 2016. Yeah, 2016. And it was actually, it must have been January of 20, it must have been January. So we got married in December of 2017. Anyway, we went out for a walk at Valley Forge Park. It was cold. It was a little bit of snow on the ground. It was New Year's Day. We went on a walk and we walked around Valley Forge Park. And I said to him, I'm like, so, are you going to put a ring on it? Like, are we get married? He's like, that I don't really want to get married. Yeah, he didn't want to get married. And I responded with, okay, wasn't mad, didn't scream, didn't call him names, was like, okay, so when are we going with this? When out more at your house than at my house? Now, by the way, all kids were in college at this point, except for Henry. So when are we going to stop like hanging out like we have been? And when are you going to go back to your house? And he was like, I wasn't planning on it. Well, maybe I'll go back after the kids all go back to college. I'm like, okay, fine. So for the next week, I did my thing. I was like, we don't need to have any relations. We're not going to be together anymore. I love you, but I cannot date you and be your girlfriend, air quotes. So he asked me out one night to go to dinner, and I was like, fine, I'll go to dinner with you. And we did, and I did my thing. I just acted like he was a friend I had known for a long time. Nothing romantic again. And by the end of that week, he tapped me on the shoulder and he goes, I have to tell you something. I'm like, yes, inquiring minds do want to know. What do you have to say? What do you have to say to me? And he goes, I've changed my mind. I said, you have? Yes, I have. I want to get married. I said, oh, okay. So now I know we're going to get married, right? But there's no like, he doesn't come out and say, here's a ring. Congratulations, we're getting married. No, 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 no. It was this whole cat and mouse game for a little bit. So fast forward to Valentine's Day of 2017. And I am sitting there and I'm like, it's a cold, rainy day in Philadelphia. It's Valentine's Day. Now, mind you, another thing, when I first started dating JF, he realized what the best florist was around me where I lived, which was Valley Forge Florist. And he had sent me flowers from the beginning from Valley Forge Florist and continued to send me flowers pretty much every week for many years from Valley Forge Florist. But this Valentine's Day, I get no flowers. I'm like, no flowers, no flowers, no flowers. My mother calls me and tells me that she's gotten a beautiful bouquet of flowers from JF for Valentine's Day and how sweet he is. And I'm like, yeah, not so sweet. I didn't get any flowers. How did you get flowers? And I didn't. So eventually I get a knock at the door and it's 1-800 flowers with a dozen roses, which half of them are broken. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You really sent me flowers from 1-800. I was a total bitch. I'm just telling you guys, I was not a nice girl that night. I don't know what was going on with me hormonally, but I definitely was not a sweet girl. And he was like, well, we're going out for dinner. I have dinner reservations. And I'm like, I could care less. I don't want to go out for dinner. It's raining. It's cold. It's yucky. It's disgusting. It's dark. I don't want to go out. Why are we going to spend the money to go out? It's so stupid. We'll just go out for dinner a different night. He's like, no, we're going out for dinner. It's Valentine's Day. We have to go out for dinner. I'm like, ah. So, in my sweet kindness way, I go upstairs and I get dressed in all black. I'm wearing all black, you guys. Turtleneck, black sweater, dress, black tights, black boots up to my knees. I'm in all black. I come down the stairs. He's like, you're going to wear that? And I'm like, do you really care that I'm going to wear this? And he's like, yeah, well, I thought you'd wear something maybe cute. Whatever, and get this thing over with. So we go, we get, we go to dinner, and we have a lovely time. We're at one of our favorite restaurants, the Silver Spoon, again in Wayne, Pennsylvania, and we go. I mean, eat there all the time. We know the owners, love them to death. Always have eaten there for many, many times. I've had birthday parties there, everything. It's like our place. We always go. We know everybody. It's like our place. So we go, we sit down, and finally, he's like, well, I have to run to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay. So, like every girl in the world, I think, when your date gets up to go to the bathroom, what do? You take out your cell phone. So I take out my cell phone and he looks at me, he goes, you're going to get on your cell phone? And I'm like, why do you care? You're going to the bathroom. I'm going to be sitting here by myself. I'm going to just see what's going on in the world. I still had Henry at home. I didn't know what he was doing. I was getting on my phone. Don't worry about it, JF. Go to the bathroom. So I do my thing. Again, I wasn't being very nice. I can tell you guys I wasn't being very nice. And he comes back to the table and gets on his knee. I'm like, what are you doing on the floor? Get off the floor. Why are you on the floor? And he pulls out this box with a ring and goes, will you marry me? Oh my God. Did I want to climb into a shell that I did not have, like a turtle or a snail? Yes, I did. Or climb under a rock and be like, oh my God, I am such a horrible woman. I have been so mean all day. And look at what this man just did for me. Crazy, crazy. You guys, it was so bad. But obviously, I said yes. And here we are, happily ever after, but it definitely didn't go the way that had thought that Valentine's Day was going to go. He got me because we had said even earlier in the day, we're like, it's so cheesy to get engaged on Valentine's Day. Who does that? I mean, we went on and on at that with that at nauseum. Okay, ad nauseum. We went on and on and on, and now I look back again. This was in 2017. So here we are 7 years later, almost 8. And I guess it is 8 years later now, isn't it? I don't know, I can't do math. But all I can say is that like I met my match on match.com, no pun intended there. And little did I know he didn't drink. He was sober. And here we are he's got 26 years and I have 18 years of continuous sobriety. And we have this life that's amazing. It's not perfect every day by any stretch of imagination, you guys. And he does have tattoos, and I embrace all of it now. And I had put so many parameters on me on what my ideal match was. As I mentioned to you, I wrote out a whole entire thing, and the joke was on me. It was totally on me because if I had been open always, maybe, I don't know what would have happened, but God always has a plan. And here I am, married happily, and it's been ups and downs and, life. We've got kids, it's all life. You come in with a mixed family and everything else, and life and human beings and relationships, and we just keep walking through it and walking through it and walking through it. So don't ever give up hope. I tell everybody to go online dating because it does work. It's just a numbers game. And you got to keep doing it, and you got to keep doing it, and you got to keep doing it until you meet your match, because your person is out there. And I had a wonderful sponsor years ago that said to me, she said, Elizabeth, when God is working on you, he's also working on your mate. And I was like, you are exactly right. So it happens when it's supposed to happen. Don't ever give up hope if you haven't found your mate yet. That is that is the most important thing, is that it hasn't happened yet. And history matters, and learning the history that we just did of Valentine's Day reminds us that love is so much more than flowers and chocolate. It's timeless. It's about resilience, like St. Valentine standing up for love even when it was dangerous. It's about poetry and creativity, like those medieval notes. And it's about connection, something we all crave, no matter where we are in life. So today, whether you have a partner, you're single, you're somewhere in between, I hope you find joy in the little expressions of love all around you. Maybe it's a call from a friend, a smile from a stranger, or simply giving someone your kindness, or having somebody, a dog like I do, that will love you, or a cat, or a guinea pig, or a bunny, whatever it is. Just know this: love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. And if we lower that big steel wall around our heart and we just open up a little bit and we trust again, because remember this, life is not like this checklist. It's not like, oh, I met this guy, it's perfect, it's going to go. No, it all has ups and downs and curves, and you know, it's like the ocean has waves. It goes up and it's down. But don't just throw in the towel because of one bad egg. You have to rise above it. You have to take the time to go and search for what you're really looking for, because we all want to have love. It goes back to Adam in the garden, right? God looked at Adam and said he shouldn't be by himself. And he brought Adam Eve. We all have a top for our pot. And for a pot, there's a lid for a pot. And everybody has a lid for their pot. Don't give up till you find that lid. Keep trying. Don't ever just say, I'm going to give up. Just take the willingness to go and meet people. Go out on dates. That does not mean dinner. That means coffee. Go and have coffee with someone. If somebody wants to be your pen pal, online dating, you are not their pen pal. That's not what you're there to do, is have a pen pal relationship. You can have that with an old friend. You need to meet somebody in person and see if there's chemistry. And if the person doesn't want to meet you, next. You do not know this person that you've met online, by the way. So you can't go too deep in how they feel and what you're feeling about how they're feeling and da 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 da. I know we all want to be nice, but if somebody doesn't want to take the time to take you out for a cup of coffee, next. You are the most important person in this entire project of meeting someone. It's about you. And if the person isn't giving you what you want from the beginning, that's telling you something. Walk away, close the door. You see red flags, you see like gale force winds coming your way, too many red flags, run. You do not have to do anything. Just date them. Just date them and get to know them. Do it one day at a time. If you don't drink and that person's a big drinker, it's not going to be a good match. Who wants to be married to somebody who's drinking all the time? If you're sober, it's too hard. It's too hard. But if you're already married, too late. You're gonna. We'll talk about that at a different day. But if you're dating, Go and meet somebody that is something in common with you. I told my husband in the very beginning I golfed. I lied. I did not know how to play golf, but I eventually learned. It's all about taking this journey of life. It's taking that first step. Sign up for a dating app. See if you can meet someone. I can tell you this as well. I'm having somebody that founded a dating app. His story is coming up on Monday. Check that out. He actually started this sober dating app, Lucid. So you have to come listen to that for Monday's episode. But I just want you to know this. I'm really happy you guys listened to me today. Thanks for coming down memory lane with me. I hope today's stories you could relate at least somewhat. And I hope you know that love is out there for you. Don't ever give up hope. Okay? Don't ever give up hope. I'm sending you guys all the biggest happy Valentine's Day. Have a great Valentine's Day. I'll let you guys all know how the party went this weekend. It's going to be awesome. I'll tune you guys into it next Wednesday. And until then, know this, you are never alone. Take care, everybody. Talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, if you could subscribe, that would mean the world to me. And follow me on all social media. And you can also get my newsletter every Friday morning into your inbox. Just go to elizabethchance.com and subscribe. Take care.